So now we're going to spend the rest of the video and also the rest of this topic on our recent eras, because we need to realize that the Phanerozoic eon, the one that we're currently in, takes up a relatively small amount of time, but the rest of our reference table is going to be the basis of this Phanerozoic eon, because this is the eon where we have most of the life, and that's what's of interest of us for these pages of the reference table. So the Phanerozoic eon is broken up into 3 eras, and these are our recent eon and our recent eras. We have the Paleozoic, the Mesozoic, and the Cenozoic, all color-coded to show that they all come from that Phanerozoic eon. So now let's look at the rest of page 8 all together. Since we have so much time to represent, we need to break things down even further. So eras are broken up into periods. Periods are broken up into epochs, and then from there we can get information about the life on Earth that existed during each of these epochs, periods, and eras. So we have that Phanerozoic eon that's representing this part of the reference table, and now we need to see exactly how this eon takes over the rest of page 8. Because if we color code it, we'll continue to see how the 3 recent eras of Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and Cenozoic are the basis for the rest of this reference table. So now we need to get a look at time, because when we looked at the time scale for the eons, we started with 0 million years ago, which is present day, all the way down to 4,600 million years ago, which is the beginning of the Earth. But since the rest of this reference table is only focusing on the Phanerozoic eon, we need to be comfortable with the time scale that exists. Luckily, the units are still the same. It's in millions of years ago. We have the present at the top, the past at the bottom. But this time, as we go to the bottom, our time is 542 million years ago. And if we follow that curve, we're going to notice that that's exactly when the Phanerozoic eon began, 542 million years ago. So the rest of pages 8 and 9, all the other columns that we're going to look at, only represent 542 million years of Earth's history, because again, we're only focusing on the Phanerozoic eon and the 3 eras that encompass that eon. So now I want to get us a little bit more comfortable with this specific time scale. So I have a snapshot as an example. So here we're looking at the time of 299 million years ago, 251, 200, and 146 million years ago. You're going to need to be able to identify the beginning and end of geologic time periods. So this is going to show you how that works. So if we start with 299 million years ago, that marks the beginning of the Permian period. 251 million years ago marks the end of the Permian period. But when one period is ending, another period is just beginning. So 251 million years ago might be the end of the Permian, but it's also the beginning of the Triassic period. 200 million years ago marks the end of the Triassic, but it also marks the beginning of the Jurassic period. And then we had the end of the Jurassic period 146 million years ago. So now let's look at an example. Let's say we were asking you to figure out how long ago did we have the mass extinction of land and marine organisms, including trilobites. Well, we locate that exact phrase in the reference table, and we look over to the time scale, and we see that this happened 251 million years ago. So now I want to take the rest of this video to go through some example questions with you guys. So to start, you could be asked, how many million years ago was the mass extinction of the dinosaurs? With this chart, you got to look for exact phrasing. So if you look in this chart and you locate the mass extinction of the dinosaurs, let's zoom in so we get a better look at that. We have the mass extinction of the dinosaurs. We look over to the time scale and we can see that it's 65.5 million years ago. So that's going to be the answer for this question. That's how long ago the dinosaurs went extinct. All right, let's take a look at another example question. So here we have, in which epoch, period, and era did the earliest birds appear? You need to find that exact phrasing in the reference table. You find earliest birds. Now let's zoom into that. We have earliest birds, and if we look over to the epoch, period, and era column, we will see that it's the late Jurassic during the Mesozoic era. So our answers to this question, the epoch is late, period is Jurassic, era, Mesozoic. Let's just do one more example question here. In which epoch, period, and era did the earliest fish emerge? So if you search on the Life on Earth column for earliest fish, you'll find it pretty close to the bottom. Let's zoom into that, locate earliest fish, then we look over to the epoch, period, and era columns, and we will see that we have the epoch is middle, period is Cambrian, era is Paleozoic. If you have any questions at all as you're completing these activities, please do not hesitate to reach out. However, the key to these kind of questions is just patience. The answers are on the chart. You just need to be patient and find them, and you'll be just fine.